I kind of previewed, dropped a hint about our guest at tea time today. There's going to be someone sitting in that dressing room down there who's going to be very worried about the next 20 minutes. It's been a very special summer for Stuart Broad. He took his 600th Test wicket. He's played a key role throughout the Ashes, and I know that throughout his achievements are being enjoyed by his family, not least because he's told me, he sent me a message the other day saying Mollie has become Test Match Special's biggest fan this summer, and it's got one of those weeping emojis after it. She's listened to every ball and thinks TMS are having the best possible time.
It's true.
Mollie King, it's lovely to see you. Stuart's fiancée, mother to his child recently as well.
Yes.
He was telling me all about regressive sleeping the other day.
Oh, has he been boring you with that?
Yes. He has. I thought, Stuart, come on, you're this big angry fast bowler, you strap your bandana on, you stick it up the Aussies, and I went out there to talk to him, and he talked about regressive sleeping.
I bet that's just what you wanted to talk about.
Well, I'm a bit sort of beyond that now. Your kids have all left home and so on. But, we'll talk about Stuart in a minute. We'll let him relax over there. Have you not really been to cricket much before?
Not too much. I mean, since obviously being with Stuart, I've tried to come to as many games as I can because I absolutely love it. But, I wish I could come to all of them. But,
do you love the sport, or you love the kind of the atmosphere and everything that goes on around?
I do love the sport. I love the competitiveness. I think that's rubbed off on me from Stuart. But obviously, it's an amazing day and everybody's so lovely. And it's just nice to kind of be around it. It's Stuart's whole life. So, it's nice to be here and to support.
And it's nice. It's lovely up there on the top, actually, where I found you, because when all the families are there, parents and partners and kids and everything, all up there in a little area, you can actually, I suppose, get to know each other a bit as well. Because it's quite an itinerant thing, isn't it? People coming and going.
Yeah, everybody has been so welcoming. I was so scared, actually, on my first day coming here a few years ago, and I said to Stuart, I said, are all the girls nice? Are all the families nice? Like, what am I going to say? Are they going to talk about cricket? How do I need to be technical? And he was like, Mollie, don't be technical. Just talk about normal things. I was like, oh, thank goodness. So, everybody's been so lovely.
Good. Well, I'd hope so. And so you are a broadcaster yourself. On Radio 1, 3 days a week, in you go. How does it compare? I mean, I think, I would find Radio 1 terrifying.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's buttons and knobs and faders and things. And you do it all yourself.
We do it ourselves, but you don't have any songs that you can go to. If you've said something silly, we can play a bit of Beyonce or something. No. Whereas when you're on and you're chatting for a really long time.
Feels like it sometimes. Feels like it to the listener, I think.
Honestly, I have loved listening across the summer. It just makes me properly belly laugh hearing you guys, because obviously you can just hear how much fun you're having, and obviously I love it hearing you guys talk about Stuart, and then I love when I catch up with Stuart in the evening and I can tell him some of the bits and he's like, oh God, you've been listening to TMS, have you?
But I'm always taking the mickey out of him.
Of course. That's the first thing I like to tell him.
No. Well, I have to be very careful. I do like taking the mickey out of Stuart. But I have known him a very long time.
Yes.
To be fair.
Yeah.
So I guess what you don't get on Radio 1 are all this confectionery. I mean,
I can't believe the cakes. Yes, so I hear you guys talk about the cakes. And, I mean, they're massive cakes here. And you're properly tucking in, aren't you? You're not sort of being polite and having just one fork.
No. You seemed a bit surprised that we actually ate them at all.
Well, I thought you would sort of be like, oh, that's lovely, and not get stuck in. Because, you're here doing a serious job, but they've been demolished. You don't quite know what's in
them either.
Well, exactly. You don't know what people have said.
It could be a bit dodgy. So when you are doing what you do, to many millions of people, I hasten to add, I mean, are you really relaxed? I mean, I don't like studios.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my environment.
I mean, this is a view, isn't it?
It is, and there's noise, and there's clatter, and there's people coming and going.
Yeah.
There's activity happening that you can talk about. I always really find it difficult going into a studio because it's silent.
It's silent, and we don't have any windows where we are.
No, that's not.
So there's no view, Aggers, there. No. I mean, you've really lucked out here. I guess you couldn't do your job without the view.
Well, it helps. It helps you what's going on.
Exactly.
But in terms of the actual broadcasting itself, it feels a bit like an operating theatre in a studio.
Yeah, it does feel quite serious in a way, I guess. And when I started, I was so terrified. I'd been on the other side of the desk when I was in a band called the Saturdays, and we'd been interviewed, but I hadn't actually been on the side where you're running the desk and you're pressing all the buttons. I felt a bit like a pilot up there. I was like, there are so many buttons. What if I press the wrong one? But over time, I've got used to it and starting to feel more relaxed.
I need to ask, obviously, for a friend, where are the Saturdays now? We're keen to know.
We're on hiatus, Aggers.
Right.
And I know you're desperate to get the next single bought.
Yes, I am. I've got all of them. I mean, so have you been mothballed, or what's the?
I think our last gig was in 2015 or maybe 2016.
Wow.
So it's quite some time ago. Stuart often says, I wish I could have come and seen you do that, but it feels like a lifetime.
There was no connection then. That was pre-Stu.
It was, although Stuart and I, the way that we got to know each other, this was many moons ago, was Stuart had become injured in a game, and I think he'd said to somebody that he quite liked the look of the blonde one in the Saturdays, and I had been.
That sounds like Stuart.
And I had been at a concert with the girls, and this lady came over and she was like, there's a cricketer, Stuart Broad. He said he quite likes the look of you. He's just become injured. Could you possibly send him a get well message on Twitter? Oh. So I did, and that's where it all began.
Was it really?
So, long time ago.
So, right, sort of internet dating, but not really.
Well, exactly, yes. Yeah. We actually looked back over some of our messages, maybe like a year ago when we were just laughing. And, oh my goodness, Aggers, if you could hear how I was trying to flirt with Stuart, it was incredibly embarrassing. I think I was trying to chat him up by saying, "Oh, you have the same birthday as my mum."
Oh, that's nice.
And that's not the best chat up line, but no, we're a few years down the line now, so thank goodness.
Yeah. And how was it for you then? So, I mean, you come out of a band that's well known and a huge following, but as you say, you're in your hiatus. Starting up a new career, it's not going to be easy, is it?
It's quite intimidating.
Scratch. I mean, you don't get much training to be a Radio 1 DJ, let's be honest.
No, exactly. Well, I was only meant to be on for 4 shows. I was meant to be on for a month each Saturday with Matt Edmondson, who had his own show.
Right. And
I absolutely fell in love with it. The minute after that first show, we put the mics down and I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And I remember saying to my mum after it, I was like, oh my God, Mum, I would love this to be like, I guess kind of like my next chapter almost.
Why? Connection with people?
Yeah, just being able to have these open conversations and, the texts that come in, you just feel so connected to people.
Yeah, you do.
And I just love having a good chat. So I did that for the month, and then Radio 1 said, do you fancy coming back for a few shows? I was like, yes, please. And then they said to me, do I want to come back officially as a co-host on the show? So it was honestly a dream come true. I've absolutely loved it. Yeah. But it is intimidating, I think, doing something new, because like you say, you don't really get proper training. You sort of learn on the job, and I'm definitely...
it's quite easy to be labelled, she's only got the job, she's that girl from the Saturdays.
Yeah.
There's that kind of element, I guess, in some people's minds.
Yeah, of course, yes. And, I'm sure that did help. But I've just always been someone who, if I'm doing something, I throw myself completely into it and I want to learn. I used to go and watch people like Scott Mills and Annie Mac and Matt and Greg James. I used to watch them run the desk, and I just would listen all the time and just see how they would start telling stories and how they'd finish telling stories, because I just would want to just be the best that I could be, I guess.
Yeah, like Stuart.
Yeah, gosh, he...
What's he like at home, Stuart? I mean, I've know him a little bit, but nothing like when he comes home. I love the way because we know him, I love how he works himself and makes himself grumpy out there. I mean, he deliberately does it sometimes, doesn't he? He'll get cross. He got cross the other day, and I better be careful now, because you go back and tell me everything that I say.
Oh, of course,
he got cross with a painted line. And he made the groundsman go and get some green-coloured paint and paint it out. He makes himself angry. And I know the fast bowler's mentality, which I do have a bit of. Sometimes you do have to make yourself a bit cross about something to fire you up and so on.
Yeah. Well, remember when he got mad about the... was it in Australia where he got mad about the camera that was in his eye line?
Yes, I do.
Brilliant.
Yes.
But
it's typical.
At home, he's so relaxed. He's so chilled. And then I see him, I watch him on the TV, and I'm like, is that the same person? Because he's so relaxed and just gentle and sweet. And then I see him out there being so competitive, and I'm like, is that Stuart? But my God, he loves it.
Yes,
he
I know he does.
absolutely loves it.
He's had a brilliant summer.
Oh, amazing. He's just, I mean, I don't think he ever thought that he would play every single test, but he's just been amazing. He's done so well, and you know, I obviously don't know much about cricket, but I'm so proud of him, and just his enjoyment for it. He just adores it. He just lives it and breathes it. And even when he's not playing, it's at home, he's watching it. And yeah, he just loves it.
Actually, it's quite good that if you're not massively into the game, he can just come back and just switch off. I guess, I mean, you're not going to tell him that he bowled a rubbish fourth ball in the fifth over. What were you doing thinking there, bowling that bouncer?
I say I would have done this, but no, but Aggers, I'm terrible for I'm like, oh, so what happened there? Oh, and you know, what was he like when he came back in the dressing room? Was he upset? And what did the lads say? And I'm sure it's the last thing he wants to talk about, but I can't stop watching it. It's addictive. It's such an amazing game, and I just want to ask him all the questions after it when he's trying to switch off, you know.
Yes.
I'm like, what did you think of that, though? Did you think he was out? And all of this. He's like, Mollie, please, no. I just want to relax. So, yes, I can be that annoying person for sure. Yeah.
What about the bandana look? This is something that came in during lockdown, didn't it?
It
COVID.
did. I think it did, because he wasn't able to cut the hair during COVID.
Oh, that was the reason.
So we started the bandana, and then I think he had a really good summer, didn't he?
He did.
When the first time he wore the bandana, and then he hasn't taken it off since.
No, sort of a lucky thing, is it?
I think so. I mean, what do you think of the bandana?
Well, actually, I quite like it. Because you're right, he was getting a bit straggly, wasn't he? So
I did try and trim it for him in lockdown, but obviously I've never used a razor like that.
No.
So I had the razor the wrong way, and it did the tightest possible cut just above his ear.
Like a zero.
Yes. And he was like, stop right there. I was like, I can't stop right there, Stuart, because you've now got one side that's a zero, and the other side, it's all got to go. So that wasn't a great afternoon for us, that one, no. So hence the bandana coming in.
Well, I like it, and it clearly brings him good luck. Well, it has. How do you cope with all the time away? I mean, that's that sort of part and parcel of all our jobs, really, isn't it? I mean, and cricketers are away a lot. Were you sort of prepared for that? I mean, I don't just mean in the winters, but I mean summers too.
Yeah, do you know what? To be honest, I think when we first started dating, I had no idea how much he would be away, and now it's something that I am used to. But it's still really hard when he goes on the long tours. I really, really miss him. But I know that he's doing what he loves the most in the world. So it's one of those things where we speak every night. And thank God for FaceTime. We're always catching up. So he's very, very good at checking in, I have to say that. But yeah, it's something that I've definitely got used to. And I'm quite, well, I like to think that I'm quite chilled about it now. I'm quite relaxed, and I get it. But
you're working as well, so it actually must be quite hard juggling Annabella as well. I'm not literally juggling Annabella, but I mean juggling life with Annabella. You know, because you've got a serious career yourself, so it can't be easy.
There's a lot going on, definitely. There's definitely lots going on, but we just try and, without sounding corny, we try to make as much time to kind of support each other and be there for each other. Like, there's no way I ever would have missed this. You know, it's amazing to be here and to support him, and I was down at Lord's as well. But it's nice for us both to keep busy. So yeah, it's just nice to come and see him do what he loves so much. So yeah, it's great to be here.
Well, he's certainly a doting dad. I've seen him in action at Nick's 70th. I mean, you can't accuse him of not. I mean, he's hands-on, isn't he? Yeah,
he is. He's so proud of her, isn't he? He really is. Yeah, he likes to sort of parade her around a little bit, doesn't he? He's amazing. He's very hands-on. I mean, I'm sure she'll get into the cricket when she's older. Yeah. Let's see if she had a little bandana. He actually came home the other...
What do you think?
If Stuart's got anything to do with it, then I'm sure she will. But he came home the other day with a little England Ashes shirt that has Broad on the back. So adorable.
Nice.
But no, he's very hands-on, absolutely adores her, and she adores him as well. Her face lights up when he comes in the door. So, that's just nice. Adorable.
How long does it carry on for? I mean, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, he just seems to be ageless. I remember a conversation with him 4 years ago, and he was kind of talking about, will I make it through? I don't know. What shall I do? You know, sort of chatting about things.
Yeah.
And here he is, 4 years on, and he's bowling better than ever.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like
Did you
he
ever
is...
give it any thought about how long he's going to carry on for?
Do you know what? It's just a decision that's for him. You know, it's his whole life, so it's such a big decision. But he's playing, I feel like, better than he ever has. But yeah, it's his whole world, isn't it? As you know. So yeah, who knows?
I'm past coming up, Mollie. I told you it wouldn't take long. 15
You've
minutes.
been very kind, Aggers. I've been terrified about this.
No,
and I
you
know
haven't.
Stuart's going to listen back and go, oh my God, Mollie's on TMS.
I don't think that you've given too much away. A little note here. So you've got to tell us about the giant DJ hunt, apparently, which I know nothing about.
So this, Aggers, was something that we did on Radio 1, where Greg James, who you know, yes, he hosts the breakfast show, and he basically came into work last Monday, I think it was, 2 Mondays ago, and every single Radio 1 presenter was hidden across the UK, and he had to find them and piece them back to come back to do their show. And if he couldn't find you, it meant that he was basically covering your show. So he had from Monday to Friday to find every single presenter with the help of the listeners, who were amazing and got so invested, so into it. But
not easy spotting radio people about, though, is it?
No, exactly. But the listeners, they got so stuck in, and we were able to kind of give clues out on our Instagram.
Right.
And the guy who I host our show with, Matt Edmondson, he was lucky enough. He was hidden at Old Trafford. So I was like, how have you been hidden at Old Trafford? So, yeah, he was lucky enough to come and see some of the cricket. But, yeah, I think Greg loved it.
We're not going to get Greg bursting in here searching for you. No, that's
I've been found, thank goodness.
Good.
Yes,
Well,
but Greg
right.
loves his cricket, doesn't he?
He does. How do you feel when Stuart's about to come out to bat? I mean, he's not quite there yet. He doesn't have his pads on. I mean, when he walks out...
I love it.
Stuart Broad comes out, and the crowd goes up. Are you nervous?
I do. I always get that kind of feeling in my belly. I get the butterflies. But I just think he looks so adorable in his in his batting outfit.
He will
Shouldn't
be
call it an
cringing now.
outfit.
He will
Yeah,
be,
exactly.
He'll be cringing, Stuart, won't you? When he listens back to
Sorry,
this.
Stuart. Yeah. But no, I love seeing him out there. So yeah, I always give him a good sort of whoop, and then I realise nobody else is whooping in the crowd. So I stick to the clapping. Yeah.
Mollie, it's lovely to see you. And I really mean thank you for coming to see us. Because
thank you for
we
having
very
me.
rarely get the chance to talk to the other halves who play such an important part in it all.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've loved seeing the studio and meeting everyone.
I'm afraid you've got Andy Zoltzman there as well. So there we go. Mollie, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks, Aggers.
Lovely to see you.
And
I'm sure Henry will escort you back upstairs. Mollie King, Stuart's fiancée, and it's just really lovely to make contact with wives and partners and girlfriends and so on, of those that we sit here and chat about all day.